again, quilty friends. Welcome back to my channel, Pages and Stitches. That's spelled pages, the number 3 stitches, both here as well as on Instagram. And my name is Kelly, and I'm here bringing you my September update for Quilters Corner. This is going to be my update number 23. And then if you are also in the FlossTube community, or if you found me from FlossTube, I will have just recently posted my 23 update, September number 23 update of FlossTube right before this video. So definitely go check that out if that's up your alley. Today is Sunday, October 1st, and so I'm going to give you my wrap up for the month of September. And I think I got a lot of cool stuff to show you this month. So, as per usual, I would like to say a giant, massive, warm, and wonderful thank you to all of the people who are here checking out my channel. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for dropping by and checking it out. Especially if you're here checking out my quilting content. It's definitely in the shadow of FlossTube for sure. I think the subject matter just doesn't have as much traction as cross-stitching does, but I do know that there are tons of people out there who are excited to see and have expressed interest in seeing quilting content that's not a tutorial in nature. So I'm hoping this helps fill that kind of niche hole. And then, of course, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. You guys are true blue friends, and I truly appreciate having you here, and I appreciate that you care what I'm creating and have taken an interest. And so thank you so much for coming back time and again. I did mention this on my FlossTube, but if you did not watch that video, you don't care about cross-stitch, you may notice that I have some new ink on my arm. I am in the process of getting a new tattoo. It is obviously not done yet because I just have the outline. Once that is healed and the color is in, which will be this coming month, I'll be able to talk more about it, tell you the story behind it, and I'll definitely post about it on Instagram. So if you're not following me there, go check out my Instagram. That's where I post all my updates for my quilting content, my FlossTube content, or my cross-stitching content, and then just life as well, like a tattoo. Alrighty, so like I do at the beginning of every video, I like to give a reading update. It's just the books that I've read in the last month. If you are new here, the Pages of Pages and Stitches is representative of my third passion, which is reading. And so I like to just give a quick shout out to the books that I read in the last month. If you have already watched my FlossTube video, just skip past this part, it's the same books. So first and foremost, I read this book here, which is called Where Dreams Begin by Kleypas. This is officially the last of her Regency romance books that I needed to read to complete her repertoire, and it's done, and I'm a little bit sad about it because I love her. When I first got back into reading after I graduated college, Kleypas was the first author I've read. She was the first romance book I ever read. And that was going on like 15 years ago. So I have a special place in my heart for her. So I'm sad that I finished her books until she writes another one. The next ones that I read, I will be inserting pictures for because I read them all on my Kindle app. The books that I read on my Kindle app are the ones I'm too ashamed to read a hard copy of in public. So do with that what you will. I have 3 to share with you, and they're all the first books of their respective series. The first one is Grinder by Samantha Whiskey. The next one is The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane. Those are both hockey romances. And then the last one is Choosing Theo by Victoria Aveline. I may not be willing to read hard copies of those books in public because of, their cover photo usually. But do I regret reading them? No. Am I going to keep reading them? Yes. So. Okay, so let's actually get into like the creative stuff, right? I do have some cool stuff to share with you. First and foremost, I have a finish. I have an FFO. I have a quilt that I just recently got back from the Long Armor. It's been bound and it is done, and I'm excited to share that with you. And then of course I've got some progress updates on my whips. I've got a new start, and then I've got some yummy good haul to share with you. So the first thing I want to share with you is my finish. I will insert a picture of what the pattern is. It's called Favorite Sweater Quilt, and it is actually a free pattern to download by Ruby Star Society. I will have that link down below. And I did this pattern using the original Warp and Weft line by Ruby Star Society as well, which is a line of wovens, and I used those wovens to make the sweaters. The the background is just I think it's called mulberry. It's just a solid kind of deep maroon color. And then the stitching is this lovely leaf pattern. And I chose to go with a variegated gold, which goes from like these kind of golden yellows all the way to a more yellowy color like this yellow. I just thought it incorporated a lot of the gold colors that were in the Fat Quarter bundle, and it looks really pretty. I love the way the leaves turned out. The backing is this cute little floral kind of maroon pattern, and the binding is the same fabric. And then the stitching on the back was done in a maroon, so it just kind of blends into the background. I really wanted it to show up on the solid background on the front, but be kind of invisible on the back so that the print can shine. So this is just a little lap size quilt, very, very cuddly, very cute, and perfect for the season now that we are officially in autumn. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. I will insert some pictures of the finished version of my quilt so you can kind of see. This isn't the best way to show it off, but I will stand back a little bit so you can see. So yeah, there it is, it's done. So this was a project that I started the year with that was a work in progress, and now I can officially check it off the list. That's always so satisfying whenever like you create a to-do list of projects and they seem numerous and big and like you'll never get them done, and then when you finally do, it's just like, oh, it feels so good. So the next project that I worked on is this one right here. You saw it on the wall last time, except now it's expanded. I will be inserting a picture here, what it's supposed to look like. I have a printed copy of the pattern, but I printed it on my work computer and they only print in black and white. So this pattern is called Cocktail Hour. It is also a free pattern that I will have linked down below. It is available on Tilda's website, which is tildasworld.com. She has tons of free patterns, and then she also has them ranked by difficulty level. So if you are on the newer side and you want something that's a little bit more simple, definitely go check her website out. But as you can see, I did not use the Tilda fabric. I am making mine using Anna Maria Horner's line Fluent, and on top of that, I made a couple of other changes. The original pattern, all the girls are one skin tone. I've switched them up and made them a bunch of different skin tones. And then the hair colors are in the original pattern are like 4 or 5 different pastels. I'm just pulling my hair colors randomly to match one of the colors in the fabric of their dresses. And I'm just doing it as I go. So, the last time you saw it, I believe it was this from here to here. This was the last column. And then these 3 girls were the bottom. So since then, I've added these here, this column, which is 2 girls and then the bottom of a dress. Oh no. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Let me tilt you up a little bit. There's 3 girls. 1, 2, 3. And then the bottom of a dress. And then I also added these 3 here. So let me bring you back down. So let me grab those off the wall so you can see a close-up of their dresses. So first we got this young lady here, and she has like a corally orange hair that I got from those little flowers. I realized too late that this piece has the diagonal going the totally opposite direction of this piece. And then the other fabrics, or the other places where I have like that diagonal print in there, I have them going the same. But am I gonna pick it apart and change it? Absolutely not. I refuse. She's just gonna be a little bit unique. And then we got this young lady here. She's got this pretty floral pattern. Her light hair color, I mean, it's very subtle, but I pulled it from like the centers of these flowers. And I kind of love it. This bright blue print behind her just is so cute. She stands out with her very tan skin. She looks like a bottle bleach blonde. And then we have this young lady here with this beautiful blue, and she's got this beautiful royal hair that matches the darker blues in the centers here. Very pretty. Okay, so now we are at the top, looking at it's the top left corner. So this will be the far border on this side, and then obviously the top. So we've reached a corner there. We've got the lovely blue. I love this sky blue color. It's so pretty. And her hair comes from inside these leaves. You can see there's some like darker green teal, some like olivey teal, and like a maroony and sort of mauve color. So that's where that hair color came from. And then behind, or excuse me, in front of her, we've got this one. Now I love this print because it's these Grecian urns. I think that's so pretty. And so her dark blue hair comes out of those urns there. Beautiful. And then lastly, we have this young lady with this sort of lacy print here for her dress. She's got more of an orange hair that I pulled from this stripe. And plus it just sticks out so well with the dark blue behind her. So cute, so fun. I just adore making these girls. I can't help it. They're so stinking cute. They're little space buns. They're little Princess Leia buns. Adorable. However, I did want to say about this quilt. Originally, I had planned to do this as a quilt as you go project. And in fact, I had already quilted this one and that one. But I'm changing my mind. I don't think I want to do that. I'm gonna pick the quilting out of those. And so the original plan was to do it as a quilt as you go, to act as almost like tutorial, or not a tutorial, but so like people who are curious about the process could kind of see how I go through it whenever I do a quilt like this. But I kind of changed my mind. I really like the idea of having this one long armed and then doing the quilt as you go on something smaller, like a baby quilt. Because quilts that are bigger, like lap size and bigger, twin size and up, I just prefer to take them to a professional. There's just easier, and it's, I don't know. So I'm sorry to those of you who were expecting me to have been doing it that way, so you can kind of see the process, but I will save that for something smaller, something like a baby quilt or a wall hanging or something like that. That being said, I do have 3 Quilt As You Go tutorials linked down below. I've had them linked down below for a while. So if you are looking into that process, definitely go check those out in the description box. Okay, so the next project that I worked on, I'm super excited about. That's this crazy banana sandwich you see down here. I had mentioned that I was looking to rename it because the pattern for this is a Christmas sampler. And obviously I am not doing Christmas fabrics. So here's the original pattern. This is a sampler called Christmas Potpourri. This is an original sampler designed by the shop that it came from in 1998. Like, this shop doesn't exist anymore. This pattern doesn't exist anymore. It's not available for purchase because it was hand typed by the creator and sold in the shop. So unfortunately you can't, if you're interested in this project, you can't buy it. I'm very sorry about that. But this was one of the first quilts my mother created, and she did it as a block of the month project in the Christmas pattern prints. And it's one of my favorite quilts that she's ever made, and it comes out every Christmas, and I love using it. But when I caught a wild hair and decided that I really wanted to do a sampler, my intention was to do it with scrappy neons, much like you see back here, just bright, not neons necessarily, but like bright, loud fabrics. So I had been thinking about it as like an acid trip or neon like vomit or like unicorn vomit. And I was like, what do you guys think I should call it? Thinking that, you know, people would take some sort of issue with those names. Turns out you guys are just as Looney Tunes as I am, because everyone was like, yeah, call it this. And so overwhelmingly people want it called the Acid Trip Sampler. So that is how I will be referring to it in the future. Christmas Potpourri Sampler, Acid Trip Sampler. Yes? Okay, great. So the last time you saw it, I had finished this block and this one here in the middle. And then this time I've added this one, and that is the corner to corner now. So other than this sort of patchwork border around all the half square triangles, I have now completed all the way through here. So 1, 2, 3, and then there's 4 rows, so you get 12 blocks total. So let me grab the new one so I can bring it in for a close-up. Amy, you will be very happy with this block because it is Tula Pink City here. Here it is, all close up. I love this block. So we've got the Ohio star here with the little scissors in the middle. Got some stripes there. We got a 9 patch, which is 2 different Tula fabrics, and I put the little hedgehogs in the middle. The teacups in this little block. We've got a pinwheel here with different little Tulas. And then over here, we've got the square within a square with Tula rows. We've got the Tula scissors here. These blocks, 1, 2, 3 are Tula. And then this is actually supposed to be an hourglass block, but this butterfly fits so perfectly in the size here that I just subbed it out and put this thing in here, which is of course a Tula. And then we've got some more half square triangles here, and then of course around the top and the side border, and there's plenty of Tulas in there. I went Tula crazy with this one. And that was kind of my intention with this whole quilt, was to use more of her stuff, and then to also use the project as sort of an I Spy. So like you got the scissors here, you got the rose here, the hearts and flowers, you got the butterfly, the teacups and the hedgehogs, and then in the pinwheel you've got all the little Tula prints. So yeah, this block was tons of fun. I just love it. Now, I think at this point in the pattern, people must have been complaining about how the handwritten pattern lacked a lot of information, like the dimensions of the individual pieces, because this one had it in there. If you'd been following the progress of these other two blocks, I was complaining about how it's a little bit hard to follow because it doesn't give you that information. It just gives you the finished size, which is an 18-inch block. And then it tells you to cut everything like on the diagonals to sort of save fabric, but I didn't want to do that because of I don't like stitching on the bias when I don't have to. So anyways, all that to say, I got more information out of this particular month's pattern, but also like I'm able to kind of math it out a little bit. So I know this is an 18-inch block, right? So 18 divided by these 9 up here is 2, right? So you got your 2-inch squares. So from there you can figure out your 9-patch block, which is 3 of these 2-inch squares, is a 6-inch block, right? The stripes, which are 2 of these 2-inch squares, is a 4-inch stripe. And then, you know what I mean? Like you can figure it out. You can use your context clues to figure out your individual dimensions, but thankfully the pattern for this block was a little bit more well-defined. So I'm hoping that bodes well for the rest of them. So the next thing I worked on was actually a new start, which you can see on my wall here, this project. And that is this pattern here, sort of. This is called Set Sail by Jaybird Quilts, and I am not doing it the way it's designed on the cover. So as you can see, these diamonds are a couple of different styles. There's a solid block or a solid diamond. There's like the 4 corners kind of checkered look. There's a half and half. There's a half with stripes. There's one split down the middle this way. I'm not doing any of the pieced diamonds. I'm just doing whole diamonds because the fabric line that I'm using to do this is Rise by Melody Miller. And I'll insert a picture of what the full line is looking like. I'm not using the full line. I am using just the larger prints in the 3 colorways. So I've started with this one here, which is the pink colorway. And then there's also the white and the blue. So you've got, oops. Oh my goodness. There we go. We've got the navy snake print and then the light blue, or I'm sorry, like the royal blue kind of floral. And then on this one, you've got the white floral and then the white snake print as well. And then I've got 3 coordinating spark fabrics that match the colorways. So this one, this is the pink one. So let me show you what these look like up close. They're super easy to make. So here's one diamond. First of all, look at that gold. Let's just appreciate the metallic sparkle. Love it. Amazing. Jewel worthy. So this is the smaller floral print. And then here's the larger snake print. I just love the metallics. So the coordinating spark colors, let me grab the other one. The coordinating spark colors for this colorway is a lighter pink, this sort of darker burnt orange that actually has a gold metallic in those stars, and then this sort of neon hot pink with a darker orange star. So it's super easy, but you do need, well, you don't need it. It is made a lot easier with a specialty ruler, which the pattern tells you to get. And that's this ruler here. This is the Super Sidekick ruler. And you can see over here which shapes you can cut using this. So I'm using this shape here, the diamond. You can also get an equilateral triangle and then these little 90-degree triangles that, depending on whether or not you have your ruler face up, like right side up or upside down, it'll cut or I guess it's this way versus that, I don't know. It'll cut opposing sides of the 90-degree triangle. Like I said, I'm just using this one, and you don't need it, but it is made easier. You could just cut your strips and then find your 60-degree line on your cutting mat and cut them that way using a straight edge. That'd be totally fine. But yeah, it's called the super sidekick because it is super and a sidekick. I don't know. But so the way you do it is you cut your strips to the dimensions given in the pattern, and then lay your sidekick ruler on the edge of the fabric, say like right here, and then cut your angled edge, and then flip it around, and then put that angled edge over here to the corner, and then cut this side, and then you've got diamonds. And then the sashing is a 1.5 inch strip, and then you just sew them on either sides of the diamonds, and trim. Super easy, so easy. So I don't have like a size in mind. I'm just gonna I have a 1/2 yard of each of the large prints. No, that's not true. That's not true. I have a yard of each of the large prints, and then a 1/2 yard of each of the sashing colors. So I'm just gonna keep cutting until I don't have any more. And then whatever size quilt that makes is the size that I'm gonna have. I think it'll be plenty big though. And then obviously, unless I want to leave an angled edge, which I don't, I will have to trim the triangles at the bottom, move them to the top, and then trim the triangles on one side and move them to the other so that it makes a straight edge. And then when you stitch them together, I have these laid out in kind of the same colored columns right now, but once I have all of the blocks made up, I will move them around and make them random. So then once you're ready to put them all together and you have them laid out, then you stitch them along the diagonal rows instead of straight up and down or horizontal. It's easier than it looks. Unfortunately, Rise by Melody Miller is not available anymore. I had been hanging on to this fabric line for like 2 years, if not more, and I'm finally doing something with it. I've been looking for the right pattern to do something with this fabric line, but yeah, it's not available anymore. I do adore Melody Miller's fabrics though. She also designed Stay Gold, which was the fabric line I used to make this quilt here, and it's one of my favorite quilts I've ever made. She's just very much like Anna Maria Horner and Tula Pink. She is very loud and bright and fun and whimsical, and that's obviously right up my alley. So she's one of my favorites, of course. So those were the projects that I worked on, the quilt finish, and then these 3 whips. So what I'm going to share with you now is just my haul, my little bit of haul. It's not too much. And then we'll go over plans and then we'll say goodbye. So you may recall last month I had showed you a quilt top finish, which was this pattern here. This is the top that I finished. This is Bauhaus by Zen Chic, and I used the stripes and dots from Tula Pink's newest line, Everglow. Now for the backing, somebody had previously suggested that I use the other prints from that line to kind of piece together to make a cool backing, so it almost serves as like a reversible quilt, which was an excellent idea, and I don't want the person who gave me that idea to feel bad that I'm changing my mind. What I'm doing now instead, so I went shopping, I went to Joann's, and I found this Minky. Oh my god, it's so soft. And I couldn't pass it up because, as you can see, it is neon and the colors match perfectly. And it's just amazing and wonderful. So I'm gonna go with this Minky, because whenever, well, I guess you can. Let me rewind. When you get a minky for your backing, you don't have to use batting. Like, it kind of cuts out the middleman, if you will. It tends to be a little bit thinner quilt, which is fine. But I have not done that before, and I've seen other quilts finished that way, and it's amazing. They're very comfy, a little bit more lightweight, but also super soft. And then for long arming purposes, it saves a little bit of money because you don't have to purchase batting. This is your batting and your backing all together. So this is going to be, I've already pieced this together. It is ready to go to my long armor. I don't have another long arm appointment until December, but she said that I am next in line of the like 5 or 6 people she rotates through whenever she has cancellations. So if there's a cancellation between now and September, this puppy's going in to get quilted, which I'm very excited about. So this was the first thing that I purchased, and I think it was such a perfect find. Like, you can see those are bright neon colors, and these are bright neon colors. It matches perfectly. Right? Very happy. The other thing that I purchased while I was at Joann's was some background fabric for this next quilt that I'm going to be starting soon. I showed this in my last update. This is called Stars Hollow by Missouri Star Quilt Company. They did theirs in Halloween prints. I will be using this line here. This is called Moonlit Garden by Andover. It's got big, beautiful, glorious Luna moths all over it, and it's very beautiful and fun. But I didn't want to use a white for my background. I tend to not use white for backgrounds. I just find it more visually appealing to use something else. So, like, you know, my favorite sweater quilt, it's a deep mulberry color. For Bauhaus, I used a washed black. I mean, you can see I'm not color averse. So all that to say, I didn't want to use a white for the background. But I did want something that was a little bit neutral. So I found this fabric here, which is like a warm yellowy cream color with a very subtle sort of faded dot on it that I really like. And so it looks really good with like these other fabrics without either blending in or overpowering. So like you can see even the whites. So there's some, let me find them. There's some white prints that won't get lost in it. It looks good with the greens, the corally oranges and the pinks. So this is probably the closest one in color, but even still, like it's not gonna get lost in there, which is why I like it. There's this sort of like limey yellow green that it looks good on. So I just think it worked really well because it's soft, but it's not plain, if that makes sense. Like, it's not gonna detract from the fabric line, but it's also not just like a boring white. I don't do boring white in this house. While I was at Joann's shopping around for that backing and that background, I happened to come across this pattern here. This is called Jubilee by It's So Emma. Here's the quilt here. And it's so cute. It utilizes half yards, or I guess you could use a fat quarter bundle, but use like two similar prints as the major player in whatever block you're working on. And it comes in crib, lap, and queen. Of course, you can make it whatever size you want. You could keep going until it covered the earth. I will not be doing that. So I do like this layout, this size. This is the lap size, which is 60 by 80-ish, I believe. It's not on the back. I had to look inside, but I believe it's 60 by 80. So yeah, for a lap size, you need 12 half yards, or presumably 24 fat quarters. And like I said, you would use like two similar prints. I don't have any fabric line in mind for this. I just really like the pattern. It caught my eye, and so I bought it. The last thing that I wanted to show you is just a couple. I found some fabrics that I purchased with the intentions of maybe one day using them as the backings of something. I have no plans for them, but I didn't want to pass them up. Namely because my parents just recently went on a long vacation. They took a cruise overseas. They were gone for 2 weeks, something like that. And then my mother, while I was gone, was like, go shopping in my stash. I have drawers that won't close and overflowing fabric supplies, and it's bleeding into another room. She was like, please go shopping in my stash. So I did, and she actually, whenever our local quilt shop closed, she bought several bolts of fabric just to have. So I went and I cut 5 yards off of some of those bolts, thinking these will make great quilt backings one day. So the first one is this one here, which is this super cute puzzle print. It's a creamy white and black, and this fabric is by Moda. 5 yards of that. And then the other one another one that I got from her is this one here. Beautiful tropical butterfly and floral print. And this was designed by Philip Jacobs for Free Spirit Fabrics. It's a Free Spirit. I know it's, and Philip Jacobs is the designer. Very beautiful, very tropical. Love the colors. Of course, love the butterflies. So this will be a beautiful quilt back. Again, I got 5 yards of that. So because those last two came from my mother's stash, they were free. But this next one came from Joann, so I didn't have to pay for it. And I got 5 yards of this, and it is this super cute vintage comic. But if you look closely, the comic is sewing themed, right? So we've got modern home sewing woes. Why does everything happen to me? How was I supposed to know to cut it on the bias? It's ruined. You really do need microtex needle to sew knit. I can't bear to leave these bolts behind. Am I a fabric addict? I mean, yeah, I saw this and I was like, well, you're coming home with me. Like, of course I have to get you. Just really cute. Look at in the glasses here where it says closed. She's crying because the fabric store's closed. We've got, oh, she's sitting at her sewing machine here working. Just, I love how dramatic it is, and it's all over quilting and fabric drama. I couldn't pass it up. I haven't, again, like I said, no plans. Couldn't tell you what project I'm gonna use it for, but it's gotta be used for something. You know, nobody ever needs a reason to buy fabric, right? You can just buy it. There's nobody stopping you. You can do whatever you want. All right, that's it. I finished. That's my whip updates. That's my haul. The only plans that I am making are to continue with my whips. I've found that when I make hard and fast plans in my quilting content, I rarely stick to them because life, I don't know. So I'm not setting any deadlines for any of these. I'm not setting any goals beyond continue. Right? That's achievable. So I'm gonna keep working on these. I may or may not start the Stars Hollow quilts from Missouri Star. If I do, it'll be a surprise to us both. But other than that, I'm done. That's everything. That's the whole update. I have a trip coming up in October. I will be out of the state for a long weekend and then After that, no hard plans. So I should be able to continue with my whips, like I said. And then I will catch up with you guys at the end of October. And that's it. That's everything. I hope that your upcoming month is going to be creative and productive and relaxing and enjoyable. I wish that for you and for everybody. So yeah, I will see you guys at the end of October. Bye.